Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to the channel. Welcome to simracing Bible. It's good to have you with us. Tonight, we are in Automobilista 2, and we are going to be taking a look at and celebrating Silverstone. Silverstone is, and has been, the self-proclaimed home of British motor racing for many, many years. In fact, probably nearly 75 years now. And it's gone through a few different iterations over the years. It's changed its layout ever so slightly and in different ways. And we're lucky enough in Automobilista 2 to have several different layouts of Silverstone. So what we're going to do is we're going to drive each layout currently featured in the title in a variety of different cars which have raced there over the years as well. And we want you to share your memories of Silverstone. So what are your favourite memories of the circuit from Formula 1, from touring cars, from whatever it is that you've enjoyed watching there over the years? So share them with us in the comments, and we'd love to hear those and reminisce with you. So welcome along to the stream. We are going to start off by going back in time. We're going to go back to the far-flung reaches of Silverstone's history as far as we can in Automobilista 2 anyway, and start there. So let's get ourselves into the sim and find out what we're going to do first. So here we go. Get myself in here as well. All right. Yeah, just choose some quick changes here. How are we doing, Marty? You okay? Hope you're doing well. Let's see, what can we do here? Just gonna unpin our chat message because it's currently hiding everything that I see on my screen here. Actually, no, it should be okay. We'll be right. Anyway, so as you can see from the screen that we have in front of us here, we currently have in front of us a very, very nice old Lotus, the Lotus Type 72, 72E to be specific. So we're going to test it out first of all at the 1975 layout of Silverstone without the chicane. So let's see if we can actually go back to 1975 and our custom dates here. Let's see how far this will go back. Maybe we can indeed. Right, 75 will go usually July time, isn't it? British Grand Prix, so I'm not sure what the dates were, so we'll throw it to the 19th of July and see what happens from there. Hey, Funky, welcome along. Good to see you. All right, we'll save that on there. So we're just going to do a test session first because there's a very good reason for this. One, just to kind of ease ourselves in gently, but we are going to do some races against the AI tonight and just have some fun driving the circuits in various different cars. But one of the things when looking through the history of Silverstone, which is rich in all forms of motor racing. 1975 was when they actually changed the circuit layout for Formula 1. So they have this version which we're on now, which is the sweeping woodcut bend, but they installed a chicane at woodcut to try and slow the cars down. And one of the memories that's posted on the Silverstone website is about Ronnie Peterson and his Lotus sliding through woodcut at 150 miles an hour. So we're going to try and see if we can replicate that this evening to start us off and, and see how we go. I think if I can take my brave pills, it might be all right. Okay, so let's head ourselves out onto the track and get used to the beautiful Lotus 72. So historic tracks and live weather, AMS2 shines, says Marty. Yeah, this is where it's at. Historic layouts are always fun to drive. Very, very basic, very simple, but very enjoyable as well. Plenty of opportunity to stretch the legs of the Cosworth DFV. And not very many options to figure out where the track goes, because the limited marker posts and things, which makes things a little bit tricky. We're just kind of easing ourselves in here. Go. So funky. The Silverstone's the only track I don't have for some reason. I'll have to sort that out. Oh, okay. Well, maybe you can have a sneak peek and see what you think of it this evening. So, very, very scary looking bollards on the inside. Don't really fancy clipping those. I know I'm kind of touring around at the moment. We're just kind of having a look at the circuit from what we can see. And this is the era where you have these rather nasty catch fences on the outside to slow you down rather than gravel traps. Right, up towards Abbey Corner, which is very, very quick. Now what I don't have here is my speedometer in miles an hour, so it's in kilometers an hour, so I'm just going to have to guess. I have to change the unit readings on there just to make sure we can actually get that right. Down to cops we go. Missed the what look like concrete bollards on the inside, I'm sure they're not. That's the grass, don't want to go on there. But the old school Formula 1 cars do like to move around a fair bit. Dear me. Second gear through there is probably not the go. Alright, there's one lone tree on the inside there. Hey Norman! How's Bermuda today? Hope you're doing well. Haven't seen you for a little while. There we go. Picking the pace up a little bit more as we go now. Through Club Corner, which again is very different to modern day Club Corner. But it's much more sparse of buildings and all sorts, as is most of the circuit. Flat out through Abbey almost. Right, this time let's try and be a little bit braver through Woodcut. It's going to go down to 4th, but it's pretty well planted actually. Right, let's make sure we're getting that properly done. So let's just display units and Imperial. Let's see if that changes it to miles per hour. Yeah, it does. Okay, great. So we'll go again and see if we can slide our way through Woodcut Corner at 150 miles an hour. We've got the planes on the inside of the circuit here. Obviously, Silverstone itself being based around a World War II airfield, and for the longest time it was probably still an active airfield in terms of the the Grand Prix weekend was actually making Silverstone one of the busiest airports in the country at the time because of the number of private planes flying in and out and helicopters and things. Whoop. Right, so here we go. Down to Club Corner again. Steering wheel's fine. I mean, Norman says interesting steering wheel movement. What your FFP settings? I'll have to show you that in a moment, but it's quite brutal on the steering wheel at the moment. It's quite fidgety. Right, down to Woodcut. Oh no, we're too slow. That's way too slow. We're in 130s there. Okay, need to take that quicker next time around. Ronnie Peterson is far more of a skilled driver than I obviously am. But I need to try and get used to this car a little bit more. But these old school F1 cars are really nice to drive though. Actually making a lot of corrections. Yeah, I am. It's pretty full on, really. I have to have a look at those force feedback settings and see what's going on. I'm trying to encourage it to do a bit of a slide, but it's not really having it. It just wants to push on. Right, come on then. Let's go through here a bit quicker. 170 miles an hour. Let's just drop it down one gear. Okay, 150 on the exit. I don't know if we can go much quicker than that. Grip won't allow that. But the circuit itself, let's have a look at it from a slightly slower turn of pace. But yeah, there you go. So there's the planes on the outside over there, all kind of lined up. We've got some other vehicles on the inside. Quite basic to look at in terms of scenery, but then it is a very flat airfield type circuit. Some caravans and things on the left there. Again, the old advertising boards on the sides. You come along here, obviously this is now all fully grandstands all the way around. We've got one big grandstand at the end here now, or two in fact. But Stowe Corner is a lot flatter here, because currently you kind of go up to it and then kind of drop off the top of it as you come down the other side. So, but we'll see that as we go through, because we'll see the natural evolution of the track across the years. So, Abbey Corner though is one of those corners which we really do miss. That's an unbridged corner, which we'll come on to later. And there's the Dunlop Bridge on the outside there. I love the old kind of Dunlop sign on the main control tower there, which is basically race control. But yeah, very, very basic layout, but good fun. So let's try and see what that's like to race on. So we'll go back and we'll do a race on there, but we'll take another of the classic cars around here. We might take a little bit of an earlier Formula car actually, because I think we should probably owe it to ourselves to do some Formula Vintage around there. We'll do the Gen 2 one. So we'll run the Brabham, I think, for this one. Oops. Except we have to go to a race, don't we? Right, there we go. We'll do a 5 lap race around there. Just straight into it, no qualifying or anything like that. And we'll take a look at those force feedback settings for you as well, Norman. Marty says, like Cleveland, get to watch people lose the track. Yeah, it is. It's quite tricky to actually kind of pick your points there when you first drive around it. It's very easy to kind of almost get lost, because there's a lot of very flat tarmac which you're on trying to negotiate your way around. I think that's probably going to get even trickier when you come to doing the chicane version of this as well, trying to sight that. But here we go. So we're sitting P6 on the grid. Going to do a quick 5 lap race with the Formula Vintage Gen 2s. And before we do, force feedback settings for Norman. So there we go. I'm on default plus, 75% gain, low force boost. I have turned that down. There was a comment about that a fair while ago now, saying why did I have my low force boost up so high? I think it was on like 50 or something. So I looked into it, I've turned it down now, it's all good. FX is on 50, damping 0, and obviously many spring strength doesn't really matter, but that's what's going on there. And then I got my various settings set up on my wheel itself. So it's yeah, it's a handful. It's a handful to drive. Okay, here we go then. Beautiful old cross plies, limited aero. And a lot of power trying to pitch me into that pit wall, which Marty was so worried about earlier on. Marcus going flying already. Ooh. Cars leaning through there ahead of us. Slow down, stop. Ooh, just about hold on. Only just about held on the outside there. Do you prefer the Gen 1 now, do you, Funky? It seems easier balance through the corners than the Gen 2. Okay. Let's see if we can get some balance on the go with this thing. Just sliding all the way through Stowe Corner. Come on, AI. To change down just to come off that corner. Leader's getting away. It is so good just seeing the drive shaft spinning around in front of you. Right, let's see if we can get up the inside here. Nope. cops. There's a move. He's going to get me back on the exit though by the looks of things. Nope. Made it stick. Right, let's go after the next guys. Bit of a cut there. Co-driver said cut, so that's what I did. Again, too deep into Beckett's. Have to pull that up a little bit earlier next time. Whew, right, okay. Have a chance to breathe down the straight. Pollard sitting in the middle of the track. Now pulling them in just a little bit. One for us. It's like playing Skittles. Lotus ahead of us here. He's going to go for a move the inside. Car's really leaning over into the corner there. Now we're going to go too wide into cops. Now they're driving quite nicely actually. I love feeling the chassis movement as you go through these corners. Right, this time we got it slowed down. We've got company behind as well, so we pulled the guy behind along with us. Yeah, having a good weekend so far, Marty. Thanks. Hope you are as well. That wasn't blocking, I promise. That was just me trying to regain control. Right, come on, let's go get him. Definitely a lot quicker through Abbey. Gotta run. Ooh, gotta round all three of them up. Maybe. Yeah, there's a lot quicker going into Woodcote than I am. Almost in a three-wide sandwich in the middle there. No! Oof. Held it. Still trying to hold it. Come on, Phil, regain control, come on. It's good that you just hold it in those slides and just keep your foot in it. So you used to get a lot of slipstream battles around here, obviously, with the long straight sections. Made for some interesting racing. And of course, with these older style cars, you just see them sliding through the corners so much. Okay, let's round up this Lotus. I love him. Okay, on to the final lap then. See if we can make any progress without running off track like we did last time. It's much better through there. Kept it on the tarmac, which is always a win. Right, a bit of a dab of brakes then. Bit of a flick into the left-hander then. Just to try and help with the rotation. Oh, what's going to happen here? Come on, guys. Don't do this to me. Managed to sneak up the inside of one of them. Bump drafting. Not really. Just running into the back of him because he checked up. Alright, come on then. Let's get this other Brabham. That was a good race actually. It was quite fun. That was pretty fun. Ended up P4 in the end. Didn't quite make it back onto the podium. Almost there. It's good fun sliding these old cars around here. So there we go. That's Silverstone 75, the smooth version of it. Now we're going to try the interrupted version. So we're going to try the one with the chicane at the Woodcut corner. You should definitely do a Gen 1 comparison if you have not driven that since 1.3 fixes. Yeah, now we can do that now actually if you want. So we'll do back to the test day mode again, and we'll jump straight into a Gen 1 car, and we'll test out the 75 with the chicane. Go with that. So Marty says the lack of body on the back allows us to watch the cars flex. Yeah, it does. So there's just chassis holding and engine mounts and things on the back, which is just everything visible. So you can't see, or you don't get hidden the car moving around. So yeah, it's good to watch the cars as they pitch and roll into the corners. So here we go. Gen 1 cars. So going even further back in time. Not quite matched to this particular era, but it still works. Cars like this would have still driven around a very similar circuit. So let's go give this a try. And obviously the majority of this lap is going to be very much the same. Let's get some heat in these tyres. There's the grass. It's nice and easy on the outlap. He says, still trying to find the grass. Big old snap as it suddenly finds grip again after going sideways. Definitely need to take Abby a lot slower. We haven't got a little bit of aero, even though it's only a small amount on the Gen 2 cars. Still enough to be able to take that corner a little bit quicker. Someone forgot which layout they were running. I was all prepared just for a nice slide through Woodcut. It wasn't going to happen. This director's fuming at me. So nice little slide out of there. So, from what I can feel so far, Funky, obviously there's a significant grip difference in terms of how much speed you can carry through the corners. But the balance-wise, I actually feel fairly similar to me anyway at the moment. But we'll keep pushing on and just see what happens. Maybe slightly more forgiving in the steering department, so you probably saw me soaring away at the wheel with the Gen 2 cars. This is a little bit more of a smoother driving experience, I suppose. Right, this time I'll take the chicane. Still quite a quick chicane, but just not as quick as the as the standard lap. You can just pitch it in and just get it sideways, catch the slide, and carry on with your day. And still run off onto the grass. Okay, so yeah, I think probably between the two, the Gen 1 and Gen 2, fairly similar balance-wise, actually. Just more cornering grip available in the Gen 2s with the addition of some wing. But yeah, you can still kind of slide them through the corners quite nicely on both versions. Probably a little bit easier on the Gen 1 because yeah, there's not that aero interfering. But yeah, so that's how that is. So let's go and do a quick race around here. We'll change the car. We'll go for Formula Retro again in that kind of era, but this time we'll drive the M23, I think. It was still in 1975. That's just checking to see if I had. Obviously, I've got the dates on there. Custom date. 75. July. Yeah, 21st. Okay. Let's go give this one a rip with some other cars on track and see how we get on. We will get on to something other than Formula cars as well. This isn't just about history of the Formula 1 Grand Prix at Silverstone, but for this era and period, this is working quite nicely. So we'll use these ones for the time being, and then we'll move on, and things start to open up a little bit in terms of options for us as we go through the years. Because back in the day, obviously, we just had Silverstone was this layout, and that was it. We don't have it quite as the very early days from the 50s where it was marked out by straw bales and oil barrels and all that kind of stuff. So that might be quite a fun one to add in, hopefully at later, at another point. But yeah, even so, good fun option to drive this one. So we're starting P11 from this particular race, a bit further back on the grid. Here we go. Not a bad start. You were 1975 you're 4 in 1975, were you, Martin? Probably wouldn't remember too much about it. Oop. Caught on the outside. Right, let's see what the McLaren can do. Easy flat through some of these corners, I suspect. Currently the guys ahead are getting away, they're stacking up behind us, so we need to get our act together. Corner markers didn't last very long. Probably considerably better than some of the corner markers of the time, which were just half a tyre buried in the ground, which would launch you if you caught that. Okay, here we go. Abbey Bend. Slight confidence lift off the throttle just to make sure we're going to get through there. Now we have the chicane, so we can't go flat out through here. Or we can, because we didn't select the chicane. Oh dear, well, we'll go back and do that properly, shall we? I was like, well, they're not braking. They're not braking for it. And there's very good reason for it, because it wasn't even there. So happening jumping between sessions, you just forget to change the track on both of them. So there we go. Chicane version. Funky was 3. Oh, I'm not the oldest one here. Only by a year. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. You know, it just means you get to see more of this wonderful era of motorsport than some of the rest of us have. We have to live it vicariously through historic meetings and sim racing. From the second oldest. Right, here we go then. This time with chicane. Ooh, even better start. We actually managed to gain a position off the start this time. And we're on the inside going into cops. Ooh, thank you for clearing the way for us. That's very kind of you. Ooh, we've had an off. Exit stage left. Ooh, one less marker board for us to use for our negotiating of the circuit. The AI take no prisoners with the circuit furniture. Currently 7 P11 so far. Go down to club we go. AI seems to be defending into there a little bit. Have a run off there. Just chop the nose off a little bit there. I love the big tall airboxes on these Formula Retros. It's just so fabulous to look at. Right, chicane time. Definitely slows you up a little bit. Just thread it through there as gently as we can without catching those curbs because they are quite tall. Look at that. All of a sudden we can carry so much more speed through Cop's Corner because there's no markers in our way. Still there. Great racing. Let's get in the slipstream, see if we can get a tow down the hangar straight. So called obviously because this is an airfield and there being a hangar somewhere around there at some point. Okay, so we can get the job done here at club. We had to turn out of it. Yep, we got him. What I would love to see included in AMS2, obviously we've got the Brabham fan car, which is a later car in Formula 1 history, but I'd love to see the Tyrrell P34-6. Just see how that would be to drive, which would be a great companion to some of these Formula Retros. Boop. Yep. Come on, let's go chase after these guys, see if we can bring them back in again. It's very, very pleasant to drive this McLaren actually. Trying to negotiate stow one-handed because you got your one hand on the gear stick. A little bit of a slide, and obviously running slicks now, so slip angles are slightly different, so when they do regain traction there's a bit more of a snap to it because you've got so much more grip available from the slick tyres. So you can slide them, but be aware. It's quite a fun little chicane really, that one. So I ran a bit too deep then, but we got away with it. Bit of a battle going on ahead, which is slowing them all up. Perhaps we'll begin to see modding teams put out cars for MS2. There are some mods available out there. I haven't installed any because I'm not entirely sure on the legality side of things. I haven't checked it out yet, but I think the six-wheel Tyrrell might be a bit of a challenge to do physics-wise, maybe. Obviously the fan car might be another example of challenging physics, but Ryza managed to do it, so hopefully it would be possible to have six wheels. Of course there's a Williams as well and a March six-wheeler. I remember the rear of the car is wider than the front as well, so if you miss it with the front, you might not miss it with the rear. Yeah, I think it's the intention of Ryza Studios to actually bulk out some of the classes as well. But we have got quite a nice selection in the Gen 2 Formula Retros, or Gen 1 should I say. This is the final lap, so barring any kind of mass pilot that happens with these four cars ahead of us, we might finish where we are here, but we've got to keep pushing, you never know what might happen. Gaining, but running out of time. There we go, so that was a P8 in the end. Made our way through, which is good. So yeah, that last chicane does add a little bit of added interest to the circuit. Obviously it's quite flowing and longish, smooth corners all the way around, so having that chicane does make a bit of a difference to the overall rhythm of it, because there's some quick inputs needed to make it through there in one piece. So yeah, it's good fun. So the old 1975 version of Silverstone. We now move on through time because we're going to jump and miss the 80s out altogether, I think, because the next one on the list jumps to 1991. The 80s didn't change too much by the sounds of things. But 1990s, there were some big changes to the circuit. In order to keep the Grand Prix, they had to do some improvements, and they made this stadium section here, which we now know with Luffield and Brooklands and Priory, which are in here. So this was a new input to the circuit. We've obviously got a change here down at Stone Club. We have the Vale section through here, which takes the cars in and back around again. So a few changes to look out for on this one. So we'll do the Grand Prix circuit first, and obviously there's some more variants as we get further along in time. So this is just the only version for 91. Next we jump into the 2000s afterwards. So we need some 90s cars to take around here. So I reckon we've done some single seaters. I reckon we change it up a little bit. So we're going to go and do some Group C cars. So what do we do? Do we do 962? Do we do the C9 Mercedes? Oh, it's such a tricky decision, isn't it? I usually go with the Mercedes, so I think I probably better do the Porsche. So we'll run the 962, and we'll do some multi-class stuff here as well. So let's clear all that out of there. We will throw in the Pro cars. We'll throw in... Where am I looking? Lost it now. GT Classics we'll throw in. There we go. That should be similar-ish type years, so we'll put all those in there. And we'll go have a race with all of them. Bit of Group C action coming your way. I was playing around. We might look to try and see if we can do something in the future with the Virtual LM GTP-C mod for R Factor. I was having a play with that for the first time in many years, just today, and it's interesting just to resample some of those old mods and see how they go. So we may have some more Group C stuff coming up on the channel at some point, which is always fun. We always like a little bit of Group C action. So let's see where we're going to end up on the grid for this one. Just going to jump straight into a race this time. So here we are, and it's put us almost plumb last of the Group C cars. Probably a wise decision. And then some pro cars and the Corvette and the Porsche 911 at the back as well. So here we go then. 5 laps of Silverstone 1991. This is the Grand Prix layout. And as you can see, things have moved on in terms of circuit infrastructure. It's not really a standing start type of car, but we're away. We've got a Porsche on the grass. It's a nice freebie for us going into turn 1. Except not second gear. So now we have curbs to deal with, which we only really had in the chicane. We also now have the Maggots and Beckets section. Which was also very different to the 75 version. So down Hanger Straight, more grandstands appearing around the place, and down to Stowe Corner. And this time, rather than going straight on, we hook back round to the right, and then sweep down the hill a little bit. Not getting hard on the brakes for Club. And then the tricky part of Club now is it turns into a much longer corner, so you have to try and progressively put the power down as you go around there. Abbey is still flat out, and now we have the wonderful bridge corner. Going to be overtaken on the outside through bridge. Up over the curbs. That's very brave. Mercedes. Hello. Sorry. Luffield come up very quick. And it's a 2-part version of Luffield now as well, because we know in the modern version of being one big long horseshoe of a corner, but this actually has 2 elements to it. As I get distracted and almost go onto the grass. Right. Big curbs around here, so we have to try and avoid them if we can. Yeah, it's Fasters, I think, actually, isn't it? The advertising boardings around the circuit. Maggots and Beckets now very similar to how we know it today. Okay. Now, the Group C era of sports car racing did come to Silverstone. And endurance races throughout the years were a big part of Silverstone's heritage. The Empire Trophy being one of them. And today at the Silverstone Classic, they obviously pay homage to that with Group C race usually goes on into the early evening. Is always an absolute pleasure to watch. So this version of Brooklands and Priory is much further along, so they actually shortened that run to the corner at some point. A bit stop-starty through the stadium section, but here we go. And get back on power again, up and over the line. Again, pulled off to the left. Getting used to the car a little bit more now. Drive in. Hi, how you doing? Welcome along. Good to have you with us. so quick through here, you just lean on the tyres. ACR Pearson, welcome along. Yeah, this is the Silverstone 91 version, the Grand Prix circuit. Just done the 75 variant, so the standard and the chicane version. Now we're moving through time into 1991. Trying to wrestle a big Group C car around here. It's a very nice layout, the 91 version. It's got the elements that we love, so the fast Abbey corners we see there, and bridge, which is just incredible. And of course the advent of Maggots and Beckett's, which is now known as being one of the most famous complexes in the world of motorsport. And the Sauber here, he's kind of getting in the way a little bit through the complex. This is lap 4. I've been doing a 1,000-kilometre race around here, or 6 hours, whatever it equates to. In Group C cars back in the day must have been quite punishing, because it's quite a full-on lap when you're going at speeds such as this. And obviously no power steering to help you along the way. Yeah. They are scary curbs, that's for sure. Just got to try and not hit them. It's the key. Very different little run in between Stowe and Club now. Tucked right up in under the rear wing of the Sauber, and it uses its V8 bi-turbo to just absolutely pull away from me on the straights. Oh, we've got some lap traffic going on. We've got a Corvette. Let's see if we can use that to our advantage. Nope. We have got another lap to try and find a way through here as we get past some of these slower cars. This is what endurance racing is all about, negotiating traffic. See ya. Where is he? Still there? He's still Now we got him. Whew. Okay. Oh, we're going to catch a Porsche in the middle of Maggots and Beckett's. Thought I missed him, but clearly not. Well, we managed to get through the Sauber there. Let's see if we can clear this 911 as we get towards Stowe. And get around the outside of this another one. Ooh. The Corvette can't do the turns. Just struggle a little bit. Straights, no problem. Corners, a little bit more of an issue. Bridge is such a commitment corner, isn't it? You really do have to be very much awake going around there. Such is the pace of the Group C cars around here that even in 5 laps we've caught the RSRs and the Corvettes. And that is the race, and we've gained a position. It was hard fought. We had to use the traffic to do it, but we still managed to do it. So much more involved layout compared to the 1975 versions. Just to catch up on what was said there, so Frankie says, is this the same layout as Toka 1 and 2 use? No, I believe that would be quite similar to the next one, actually. Yeah, it's more kind of 97, 98, so I think it did change ever so slightly since then. But we'll get onto that one next. So there we go. So what do we like about that one? Obviously, we have to avoid the curves. It's a big part of the circuit on that one. Something which was not there really on the 75 layouts. But yeah, just the inclusion of some very iconic corners, which really makes the track just become more like the Silverstone we're familiar with. Yeah, it's good to have that version in here. So we're going to move on now to the 2000s. We're going to go through the turn of the millennium, and this time we go up and we've got the national, the international, and the Grand Prix circuit to do. So we'll start off with the short one. We'll go the national one of 2001. So let's go and find a car that we can sample this one with. Probably more geared towards something a little bit slower potentially. 2000s. What should we put in here? Fusca's always jumping out at me saying, drive me. All right, what should we do? All of the single seaters. I reckon I'm going to say the touring cars for the international one. In this case, I'm actually going to use the Ultimas. I don't know when exactly this was released, but even so, we'll use the Ultimas. Ultimas have been around for quite a while, so I reckon this is going to be fun. Maybe not the slowest of cars that we're looking at, but it's fine. Let's roll this onwards. Yes, so that will go 2001. And but it's not multi-class, we'll have the same class. Okay, let's go. So CIPS in 2004 says, Luffield and Brooklands is too Mickey Mouse on that version. Glad they fixed it. Yeah, you can tell it was kind of almost put together in quite a hurry because they're obviously desperate to keep the Grand Prix there. So they created this new section to try and improve overtaking. I mean, I don't know whether it worked or not. It is quite stop-start through there. And I actually quite like the Luffield version with the two corners to it, the double apex. Yeah, it's definitely not the smoothest of runs through there. But here we go then. So we're on the national circuit for 2001. So this is the shortest version of Silverstone, other than perhaps the Stowe circuit, which we don't have. So here we go, starting 6th again in the mighty Ultima. And its funny shaped steering wheel. And again, lots more infrastructure around the circuit. You can see there's the grandstands here at Copse, and then changes to the circuit's runoff areas as well. The curves are significantly lower now. So rather than go through Maggers and Beckett's, we turn straight down the National Straight and power down towards the complex once again. So even this version of the National Circuit looks very different on its turn-in for the corner at Brooklands there. And now we have the long version of Luffield, the one that takes forever to get around. The mirrors, yeah, they're great, aren't they, up on the wings. And what we do have on the exit of Copse is a whole lot of gravel, so if you do end up running through there too quickly, you're going to end up building sandcastles, so you've got to be careful with how much speed you do take through there. So grab a spot on the exit of a Maggot's hairpin. There we go, down towards Brooklands once again, hard on the brakes. We have the wall on the, on the outside, which it's got squeezed into. I was going to say we have the BRDC Clubhouse, which has also appeared in this version. Just on the right there, you can see with the canopy over the top. The race control building on the left hand side there, no longer race control, it's now above the pit lane. Here we go, down towards the hairpin we come once more. Flame spitting from the back of the Ultima ahead. A bit tight on the exit. Power on, on the inside. This time hopefully not whack into that very handily placed wall at the end of the straight. AI are going everywhere. See if we can get the drive off the corner, which we did. AI seem to be struggling around this version because we are cruising past them like there's no tomorrow, so we suddenly find ourselves in the lead. Not that I'm doing my best to try and keep me there. Weird kind of shift to 6th gear and then completely missing the downshifts, but that's okay. We're still there. Have to brake in as straight a line as possible to get around the hairpin here. The car run wide on the exit. A lot of fans lining the straight though, which I don't really recall happening very much in the day, but this little section always the scene of some form of incident as people try and outbrake you into the corner at the end of the long straight. And flat out through Woodcote Corner. You take a lot more speed through Cops now because you just have that more confidence. You don't have to worry about smashing that really tall curve on the inside and then giving you all sorts of grief on the exit. There we go, down to Brooklands for the final time. It's difficult to get that one right, the late apex, because you've got to pick it up the latest possible opportunity. The Ultima strikes as I take out the pit entry board. Oh well. A little bit too exuberant. But we're not going to be last. That's the main thing. And there we go, across the line. So that's the national version, which is obviously used now by the British Touring Car Championship as one of their rounds, and obviously causes a fair amount of action, hence why they keep using it. But that's not what they used to use. We've had British Touring Cars using the Grand Prix circuit back in the 80s, partly because there was not much in terms of other options for them, but they also used the next circuit that we're going to go on, which is more in the, I guess, late 90s, 97, 98 kind of period, which would be one of your ones that you mentioned earlier, Funky, about the TOCA 1 and 2, because that is the international circuit, which is this version here. Now, this is actually the later version of the international circuit, so the 2001 version is different to the previous iteration of the international circuit. But I'll go through that as we drive it. So this time we're going to use some touring cars. We're going to go in the German Group A cars, obviously, because it's just amazing touring cars to drive. So we're going to take the M3, which was a car that drove here at Silverstone, obviously. So we're going to take that one out for a drive, and I'll load in. So 2001, again, we can see that the evolution of the circuit. Luffield's changed. The Priory Brooklands area has been pulled back a bit as well. You'll probably notice that when we come through Bridge Corner. It's not quite as far of a run to get down towards Priory as it was in the 1991 version. My years right. And so yeah, other main differences obviously being the curb heights and things as well. So here we go. Where are we starting this one? P9. Marty says, glad there's IMSA in the US because there's not much motorsport outside of NASCAR here, but I'm not terribly knowledgeable. Well, that's okay. And IndyCar as well, yeah. Yeah. Well, IMSA's good. It's got a few different varieties of car. So here we go. Up on the grid in 9th on the outside for some 5 laps of action around the international circuit here at Silverstone in our screaming M3. Okay, so this is where things are going to change. So obviously on the national circuit we turned hard right, but this time we're going to turn hard right, but a little bit later round because we get around that little kink and then on the brakes again to turn right here. And this is where it's slightly different because off to the left there where the cones are marking off, that's the original international circuit, which had a really quick chicane that you just kind of fired through. Whereas this one is just a much smoother run down towards the Abbey hairpin. Scene of many punts in the rear from cars braking too late. And you come out through the middle of the Abbey corner there and then into Bridge. A lot of stuttering going on here at the moment, but hopefully that'll clear up. So here we go, we're into Priory much sooner. It is stuttering like crazy, but I hope it's not too bad for you guys watching. Sideways out of Luffield. Mercedes on the inside. Let's try and keep up with them. Obviously rear-wheel drive touring cars were not too prevalent in the early 2000s as this circuit timeline dictates, but we'll run with it anyway because we love a good M3. Group A was very much late 80s, early 90s. So here we go down towards Abbey. Let's get up the inside of this Mercedes, shall we? This M3 just wants to go sideways everywhere at the moment. Right. It's not quite flat through Bridge. No, it's not. No. Let's go and do an anti-read and just try not to spear someone off. That's almost undrivable with the stutter. So I'm going to come out of that and we're going to do it as a test so you can get a proper look at the circuit without it being all over the place. It feels more familiar to you, does it, Frankie? Better resolution than Toka. Yeah, it looks better, but it's having a bit of a moment there. So we'll just jump in here and we'll do it as a quick run on our own and see if that improves the situation. So there we go. Yeah, no, this is the layer that you would have driven in Toka most likely because of the international circuit. But it would have had that chicane in there, I believe, with 98. That was the layout they used that year, which was a bit wild going through there. You see the cars kind of hopping up on 2 wheels, and yeah, it's always quite a spectacular sight watching cars go through there. So yeah, Pearson said, I've never played AMS2. Is the AI as good as it looks? I'm impressed. It is actually. It is actually quite impressive. Now, we have had a couple of issues. I think it's been fixed in a recent patch. We were running at Daytona and there was some weird kind of behaviors of some AI which would just completely come across you and take you out. But tonight, I think it's working much better because it's behaving itself. But yeah, the AI does work very well on MS2. You can race with them, and you can have a good race with them as well. So there we go, more modern garage units. A big long pit exit lane as you come out into the circuit. There we go, so it's running much smoother now, so we can get a much better look at the circuit. Get it turned in here. So I'm just going to be cheeky here. I'm just going to take this version. Prefer that layout, if I'm being honest. Some helicopters and aircraft to our left. No time to look at that. Got a hairpin to drive through. Definitely a scene of many overtakes through there. Bridge corner is one of those corners where you can line up a really good move into Priory if you get the run right through there. You just kind of straight line it to the apex on the inside as the other car goes off to the right to take the natural racing line. The big grandstands on the pit straight as it is. Obviously the start finish line is still on this side of the circuit in this year. This is way before the wing came into action. Time we'll take the proper route through here. So it's much more sedate through there this time without having to go through the chicane. You certainly carry a lot more pace into the hairpin. Let's try and keep the rear end in check as we come out of here. Still didn't want to. It's quite a climb actually coming out of here and then dipping down underneath the bridge into Bridge Corner. Definitely one of the best views of the circuit was just the other side of the bridge looking as they came through underneath and then round to line up the run into Priory, because you know, a really good viewing spot there and you see the cars coming around there so quickly and then slamming on the anchors as they try and scrub off all the speed into the next corner. And it was a brilliant part of the circuit, which is sadly no longer in use at all. It's now used for demonstration purposes, so if you have like car clubs and things on display there and infield entertainment and things. So a shame it's not really not really an option to be able to drive that anymore. But the international circuit, it's quite a fun layout to drive actually. And yeah, definitely we need some kind of super tourer to drive around here, I think. So front-wheel drive, high-powered super tourer would really work. The Group A Drift Championship I'm driving there. So there we go, that's the international layout, which is quite a nice one to drive. Shame there was a bit of stuttering going on in the race. I should have turned the AI numbers down perhaps to try and improve that. But nevertheless, we'll carry on. We'll move on to the next layout, which is back onto the Grand Prix circuit of the 2000 era. And there are some changes. So let's do the circuit first. So this is our 91 layout. So you have the very square, angular final section. You have Maggotts and Beckett's, obviously, and then you have this very flowy section of Vale on there. But if we go to the 2001 version, things change ever so slightly. So we know we've got the longer version of Luffield, the shorter entry to Priory and Brooklands. Maggots and Beckett stay the same. Stowe, we still have that little instep from here, but it does tighten up an awful lot more as you come into the club chicane and then the club corner. And then, sadly, the Abbey sweeper, as we have it through here, is no more. We now have the chicane at Abbey, which also was a very good viewing spot for watching races as well. So here we go. Let's drive this one, and this time, so 2000s, and what cars can we throw around here for 2000s? Well, maybe we can do something like this. What should we take? We took the Porsche last time. I reckon we take the McLaren for this one. Let's do some more multi-class stuff. If we can find something else to throw in with them. I don't know if there are any other cars that would go with it, actually. I think we'll just stick with GT1s. I think that's probably the safest bet. Around 2001. That's good. Right. Let's go drive some GT1s around Silverstone Grand Prix circuit from 2001. Again, not quite the right timing of it. No, it probably is actually. 2000s. Yeah, it's kind of more late 90s, isn't it, GT1, when they were in this kind of format. But it's not too far off. So we'll let it slide for our enjoyment purposes anyway. Those poor tyres, isn't it? Yeah, the M3 was certainly cooking those. Leaving lots of rubber on the road. Okay. Oh, it's very kindly put us in P3 to start this one off. Right. McLaren F1 V12. Okay, into Cops corner we go. We maintain position. Much wider into Maggots and Beckett's, much wider part of the track. Okay, we're through nicely. The lovely bark of the V12. Stowe corner a bit more familiar now. And we have that drop off the top of the hill down towards club. Well, Mercedes trying to get up on us there, but we said no to that. Wow, it really is choppy with the other cars on. It's actually undrivable. So let's it is a great combo, but let's just turn some of the AI off and see if we can improve that, because that's crazy. It's a bit stuttery. Come on. Right. So we'll turn some AI off. I don't know whether the date would be the problem. We'll use the current date and just, do default date. Right, let's see if that makes it any easier. Because I want to have a race with these cars around here, because yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a really nice combo, so I'm looking forward to driving this. So I want to try and do it some justice for you guys, really, rather than having it all stuttery. And this McLaren is, yeah, it's a real weapon. It's so good. All right. Get that cylinder first gear ready to go. Here we go. So even more preferential starting position. This time we're in P1. Okay, here we go. we've still got a little bit of stuttering going on. We'll see if we can drive through it. The car going up to our left. To fend them off for this short period of time at least. So once again, club corner. Very different to how you see it nowadays with all the buildings around there. Bit of a bump and run going on. Hook the car up to the apex on the inside. I seem to get off the start way easier than in AMS2 than Race Room. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why that is. I need to work on my Race Room starts. They're pretty poor, aren't they? There's a curve on the turn-in for the first part of Maggots and Beckett's, and just slowly reduce the speed as you go through before picking the throttle up on the exit. It's such a brutal sound, isn't it? Into club once again. And a short shifting just to keep the traction going through the exit of the corner. So even though we have lost the fast Abbey curve, coming out of the chicane, heading towards bridge is actually quite a pleasant experience to drive. So I remember I've got a central seating position going on. So did that car ahead kick up marbles? Haven't noticed that before. I was too busy concentrating. I didn't notice. Probably. The way the AI are going, there may well be another one coming past, so I have to keep my eye out. Ooh. Yeah, they seem to be a lot quicker on the straights, so they're coming through. Just defend into Stowe. Short shifting up to fourth certainly works through there. Better line through there. So you just simply fire out of there and up and over the top of the hill and then down into bridge, which is absolutely fantastic series of corners. Have to wait on the power out of Luffield. Yeah, Fasters, yeah, it's great, isn't it? This is a good job of that. Ooh. Got a bit of grass on the braking on the way in. So well, again, I'm going to start again. So this this channel, you'll come to know that I'm very good at making I don't know, making it hard for myself by saying, "Oh, it's going well, isn't it?" And then something like that happens. Well, I didn't say it, but I thought in my head, "Oh, it's not going too bad. I'm getting a handle of this car," and then instantly around it went. Oh dear! But good combo. The GT1s and the 2001 historic version of Silverstone. Still a little bit choppy on the running side of things, though, which is making it a bit tricky. But we'll carry on. So. Bye, says Oscars. Yeah, that wasn't coming back. Right, so that's 2001 done. So now we move on to the later versions, which is the current version of Silverstone as we know it. So we'll go on to the national circuit, which isn't going to be too different from what we drove before. But there will be some current differences around the actual circuit setting itself. So let's jump into a race with the Ginetta G40 around here, because this is very much a car that will work around the national circuit here at Silverstone. So what's going? Yeah, I was going to say on here. So nice save. Yeah, well, I was going to call it a save. I don't know. Yeah, Marty, this is easy. And then hello wall. Yeah. Powell, hi Powell, hi Oscar, by the way. Perhaps the steering wheel movements are too nervous, at least for me. They are quite nervous. I don't know quite what that is. I'm on automatic steering rotation. So I might need to play around with some of the settings as well, because it is quite nervous. But lots of feedback going on. Okay, so here we are. Where are we? We're P16 on the grid of Ginetta G40s. Great little car and good fun to race. So here we go. Right, we're up and running eventually. But thankfully everyone else took a bit of a slow start as well. Ginetta's quickly forming a chain. Okay, so down towards the hairpin for the first time. Again, there's a fair bit of stuttering going, but it's not too bad. Not compared to the 2001 version anyway. So here we go, so a little bit more built up now. We have some more buildings. We have the hospitality suite on the right hand side. Just going to casually put ourselves 3 wide there. Wow, Silverstone's really throwing up some stutters tonight. Going on. It had a few micro stutters after they released version 1.3, but that seemed to resolve itself. It seems to come back a little bit. A bit of a bump there. That's all right. Obviously, very, very close racing with these evenly matched little cars. Oops. So yeah, you reckon the steering wheel movement's a little bit too much than CRPS, and yeah, it is moving around quite a lot, but you feel what's going on. It's not like it's just wild and it's in its feedback levels. You do feel why it's doing it. Oh, hi Adam. Love your content. Thanks. I appreciate that. Glad you like it. Just sneak back in behind this orange Ginetta. Try and balance it through cops. Oop, didn't quite time the cut back there. Here we go. It's going to still have the overlap in front of us, so back end trying to come around as we not braking in a straight line for the hairpin. And we're still side by side running down the straight, which is now known as the Wellington Straight, by the way, not the National Straight. Not much has changed other than just the name. Still side by side. Power down nice and early in the Ginetta, and then just balance the steering all the way through the corner. And we're making some places. To P8 now. Despite being a short lap, it does take a little while to get around it with the Ginettas, but it doesn't matter too much when it's so enjoyable to drive. Right, this time get it slowed down in a more controlled manner for the hairpin. Okay. Cars ahead of us getting away ever so slightly in the straight line, even with the help of the draft. See if we can work our way through here. Let's take a wider line into Luffield. We're closer to him, but we didn't quite get the run we wanted off the corner. There we go, tucked up the inside. And there we go, got that place taken care of. He's got a couple more corners to go because we're on the final lap. And there's only a limited number of corners on the national circuit. Let's see if we can get at least P6 before the end of this one. Might have to be a dive bomb at the end of the straight. We'll set him up, we'll think we're just going to take our normal line, and then we might even get two here. Or three. We might just have got around that other one as well, so we're up to, well, we were P4, we're now back to 5. No! We're P4. We're P4. We managed to outdrag him to the line. Oh, I love the G40, it's so good. So do a comparison video of both Indianapolis for Race Room. Yes, they updated it, didn't they? They've got a new version of it. We'll have to have a look at that and do something with that. Not really had much time driving the Indianapolis circuit, actually. That's something I need to learn more of. So P4 in the end of there, so that was alright. That's the national circuit in its modern format. Accelerated on the right side. Well, thanks, Gav. I know. I was trying. So yeah, and these cars are so slow but good fun, fun looking. Yeah, they are. They're really fun to drive and race. These ones as well. Good stuff. Right. Now we go back to the international circuit next, but not the international circuit that we kind of knew from 2001 era, because it's changed. Because we now have the regular Grand Prix start on the Exeter Club corner as it is today. So the international circuit is actually the southern version of the circuit, so it doesn't include any of these corners that we saw on the national. It's completely separate, and it runs around the bottom half of the course. So this is the international circuit. So we'll drive that one, and we will run this one. What should we run with this one? What should we do here? Let's try and see what other options we've got. We'll do some Caterhams around here, I reckon. We'll use the Super Light, because that's a fun little car. Yep, let's go with that. So obviously we now have the wing, and we have all the grandstands and infrastructure around Club Corner, which is very, very different to how it looked back in 2001's version. And we have the reprofiled final corner now, which is Club Corner. And we've gotten rid of Abbey and Bridge, sadly. So now we have the inner loop section, which isn't my favourite version of Silverstone, I will be honest. So here we go. First gear in the Caterham Superlight, and we're away. Starting from the new start line with the wing on the right. And now we have the new first corner, which is, I believe, Farm? I'm not sure. Now we head into the loop, which is a series of double backing hairpin corners. Just going to be inside of the AI into there. Except this time we don't just go around the hairpin left, we go straight on and cut through and head back down the hangar straight as we drop off a little bit of a hill there. So here we go, get the oh hello, didn't know you were there. Get the the slipstream effect going. Everyone fanning out in front of us. Whoops. Caterham does like to go sideways. Into Club Corner with some big sausage curbs to avoid. Because you know how much we like to clout some of these sausage curbs. Right, here we go. New reprofiled Club Corner. So less of a long single corner. Now a double apex with a big sausage curb on the inside to avoid. First corner now, very, very quick. Down into the first of the hairpins once again. So the international circuit doesn't get raced on very much. And you may have seen it actually just recently with some of the Formula One launches. They've been running installation laps around the international circuit. So more used for track day or experience days rather than racing. Let's just take it 3 wide into Stowe, why not? I do quite like the reprofile club actually. It's quite satisfying when you do hook up the second apex properly. waiting for the AI to sort themselves out ahead of us. Just one nice big slide with the Caterham. So Oscar, so just carrying on with some of the comments here. So idea for your stream: each week when you drive the AI in a race you like, make it an online race for the next week. Okay. Yeah, we need to do more online races with you guys because I know you enjoy it, so we'll organise some. Sneak up the inside there, had a good run off the corner. AI seem to be not quite as strong as some of the other races we've done this evening, so obviously varies between circuits and cars. We're working our way through, we're up to P9 now. Just about time that, right? Oop, when the AI hit the sausage curb. Simone's is going. Oh. It's a line. I can't remember which one that was, but it must have been a good one. Oh no, the sausage curbs have arrived as funky. Yes, I dreaded sausage curbs. That's a question. Do we prefer sausage curbs or the 90s curbs? Either way, there's not very much forgiveness from either of them. P7 now, and now we're on the final lap, so let's see if we can round up a few more. Oh no, we got boxed in on the outside. See if we can hang it out around here. Oops. Okay, well somehow we're up in P3. We've got a run on P2 here as well. Okay, do we go for the lead? We're right with him. Oh, he's going to get us. Close. Nearly had him. Side by side through the last corner. That was good. I love racing the Caterham. It's always a smile-inducing car. Oh, P2 there. Very nice. That's the international circuit at Silverstone. It's actually quite a nice layout. It's quite fun to drive. Shame it's not used as much as it could do, or could be, but it's yeah, it's not a bad layout at all. So Oscar says sometimes it gets a bit boring when it's not live, but today is one of those days. It is not. Good. I'm glad. I'm sorry it gets boring. I do try and keep it as interesting as possible. Cheeky says Marty. Yeah, it was a bit of a cheeky nudge there, wasn't it? Yeah. Oops. Funky reckons 90s. I reckon the inventor of the sausage curb needs full-time security. Yeah, constant death threats coming through the post. Right. So now there's only one circuit layout left to do, which is the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit from the current day, which includes the two. Yeah, they're not. not my favourite corners. I'm going to be honest. They're kind of just corners to get through for me, and then everything else is fine. So here we go. This time, we're going to take some GT3s. Sorry. What should we do? Let's take the... Well, we had the McLaren in the thumbnail, so I suppose we better drive the McLaren, hadn't we? So I know GT3s are everywhere, but seeing as we're driving cars that have driven at Silverstone, we're going to throw some of these in here. So, multi-class. GT3, GT4, and we'll put GTE in there as well. And let's do... Well, not that DPI is race there, but we'll put DPI anyway just because of a prototype element. It's definitely not going to handle 31 cars. Right, let's try. Let's do that. Yeah, here we go. Let's go drive the Grand Prix circuit. So Silverstone has changed quite a bit over the years. There's been a lot of small revisions, a lot of larger revisions. I mean, this version, which was this layout has been used since 2010, is probably one of the larger changes in Silverstone's history. Obviously, with the brand new wing building and complex and pit area being built on this side of the track, which is no mean feat because when the pit area has been over on the other side of the track, and then you now bring everything and do it over here, and you still got the pit area on the original position, which they use for endurance races as well. But big changes were made in 2010 to make this version, which again was required because they wanted to try and keep the Grand Prix, which is kind of how Silverstone's really lived its life throughout the years, is trying to retain the Grand Prix there, which is quite desperate in a way, but nevertheless we still have a very modern facility to use in UK motorsport. So here we go. We're in GT3, which is the third quickest car, and we are last of GT3s. Excellent. So here we go. Let's see what we can do on this one. In third gear, because we're going to be using the paddles. Right. Once again, the standing start is not GT3's usual habitat, but we're up and away. Here we go. Mercedes is ahead of us, or Mercedes, 3 of them. That's the sausage curb. Again, you see, you just have to get through that corner. It's just there. And then you launch out onto the Wellington Straight, and you can stretch the legs a little bit. Braking just on the curb here. Into third. Again, late apex. Cut back on the inside of the GT3 cars ahead of us, but now we're on the outside at Luffield. A little over-under move just to get up the inside of that other Mercedes. And McLaren. Once again, we've got a bit of a run going here. Runoff area at the exit of Copse is now all tarmac, as is most modern Grand Prix circuits these days. They don't have gravel to contend with anymore because it's too punishing. You don't get away with running wide, so you have to have tarmac now so you can actually get away with it and carry on. So here we go, down hanger straight we go. What a great present. Oh, fun content, you deserve much more for it. Oh, thanks Marty, I appreciate that. I try my best. Right on the case of this Mercedes now. Through Stowe. Can't see where I'm going because there's a big GT3 rear end in front of me. Luckily we can dive to the inside and get a view of what's coming up in front of us here at Club Corner. Right. So somehow we've worked our way through to the front of the GT3 field. I'm almost catching up with the GTEs. such as our incredible searing pace, or lack of AI pace, one of the two. Most likely the second. Bit of a cut. Hey Boudreaux, the new Silverstone does meander. It does, doesn't it? It kind of wanders around and just flows. Bit of an oversteering moment off left field. I'm not quite sure how we're catching up with these GTE cars though. Something is a little bit amiss. We're pulling away from GT3 as well. Dying breed of GTE, says Gareth. Yeah, shame, isn't it? They are very nice cars. Especially that Porsche. And especially, yeah, the M8's been gone for a while officially. It's been run by private teams. I think in the US it's been run as well. But oops, we're deep into Stowe. If we can take a GT Scalpel 2 here, that would be quite something. Plenty of time to do it. We're only on lap 3, just starting. It is quite a good run through the first couple of corners with the sweeping right then left, and then the hard braking into the first of the hairpins, but the second one really does just drag on. Definitely right on their case now. They've got more straight line speed, obviously. But the big M8 is really holding up this little Porsche. And now we get to hear the beautiful sounds of the 911. Shall I have a go at getting past the M8 for you? Or you could just come right back past again. Ah, listen to it. Right, give him the toe. Thankfully nothing really dies in sim racing. That is very true, Frankie, and we're very, very thankful for that. We can drive all sorts of cars even long after they've been retired from service. That Porsche. Crunch. It's turning on me when I've already got the corner. An ultimate lap. Oops. Well, I'm not going to lie, that was pretty wild. Let's try and calm it down a little bit. We're not in Dirt Rally now. Oh, there's the... So all race long I've not been changing down to first gear. And the moment I do it, we have an issue. And that left rear is getting rather warm after its first corner issue. So you notice the curve on the inside of Brooklands now is just one continuous curve. It's not, you're not crossing over another track. So it makes it a bit easier to follow it around the inside. And all the runoff now on the exit of Woodcut there, which is is new. Beforehand you just had a little bit of grass and gravel and then the wall. Now you have an acre of tarmac in front of it as well. Oh, it's a shame we lost touch with the GTEs. We're having a bit of a battle there. My own fault for pulling first gear instead of second. Looks like the Porsche's going for a move anyway. Not made it work. Okay, down to club. Oops, no, turning too early. Running wide on the exit there as well. Right, final lap then. It's mowing the grass with my front splitter. Such an awful corner. How do you cool or save a single tyre? That's a very good question. Obviously one tyre, if it's a more left bias circuit or right bias circuit, certain sides will suffer more with wear and heat build-up than others. Normally you would go into the setup side of things to try and prevent that particular tyre from heating up too much, so you would change the pressure, so you'd do an asymmetric tyre pressure setup where you would change the one that was affected the most in a bid to try and prevent it from overheating too much. And obviously if you do have a moment like I did through the first corner, you just have to be very aware of how much load you put through that tyre as you go through the next few corners after you've had that moment, because you come out of the first issue, maybe a half spin or a big slide or whatever, and the tyres have heated up, and then by the time you get to the next corner they're still hot and they don't have prime grip, so you just have to be aware of that and how to take it a little bit more cautiously through the next couple of corners until the temperatures kind of level back out again, and then just try not to do it again, because if you carry on driving like you would do normally, we'll end up continuing to overheat that tyre and then cause more and more issues. So here we go, up and over the line we go. And there's the cool down lap. We won the class by a long way, but yeah, not a bad way to finish off with the Silverstone layout. So that was our little celebration of Silverstone. We'll have a bit of a recap here, what we think of it. Funky's just gone and bought it. Well done, Funky. $7.99 for that many layouts as a steal. It is. I mean, you get quite a lot of content, really. I mean, I think, I'm not entirely sure, but I get the impression that there might be more coming as well. So let's keep an eye out just in case, because they'll revisit some of the other circuits, I'm sure, and give us an update. And by the way, since we last were in AMS2, they have actually added the motorcycle layout for Road America. We mentioned there was only one circuit layout available, but there was a little extra chicane just before the kink, which is now available in the sim as well. So if you haven't checked that out, go have a look at that. But yeah, so the historic variants are really where Silverstone comes into its own. We obviously know Silverstone in its current format quite well, and it's in a lot of sims in that particular regard, but it's where the historic stuff, as you say, Marty, where the sim really shines. I mean, it's nice to have that kind of time warp effect where you can go through the older layouts and just revisit some of those iconic corners which you just don't get to experience anymore, such as Bridge, such as the flat out Abbey corner, or even just the very bare basics of 1975 where you just got just smooth single radius corners most of the way through, and you just drive it sideways everywhere in a Grand Prix car. So it is really, really good, and the Silverstone circuit itself is, It does provide good racing. We've seen it a few times in recent history with Formula One. They've actually had some decent races at Silverstone, which is a big tick for F1 because most of the time you don't really get decent races. So to get a good race is obviously doing something right. But yeah, so the actual amount of layouts you get available in Silverstone is great. I think personal favorite for me, I actually really like the 2001, even though it was misbehaving a little bit in terms of stuttering tonight. I think this layout is probably one of my favorites. What I would love, actually, it's down as Silverstone Historic 2001, but this is okay, this is going to sound confusing now, but this is Silverstone in 2001 in its current spec, but they also ran this circuit in what I would refer to as historic specification, and that means, so the club here has the quicker cut through rather than the slower chicane, and it also utilised the fast Abbey as well, so I'd love to see that version where you don't have the slower chicanes at club and Abbey, and everything else is the same. So that's how they used to run the Silverstone Classic back in the day when it was the Silverstone Historic Festival. And it was just amazing using the older cars. You can just see them moving around and sliding through the faster corners, and it's brilliant. So I'd love to have that version. But other than that, I think, yeah, probably the 2001 layouts are probably my favourites of the bunch. But you're going to have fun driving all of them, to be honest. And as you've seen, there's some good combos to be had. I mean, GT1 around there is spectacularly good fun. Group C as well, amazing. And some of the older Formula One cars as well, epic fun to drive around here. We haven't even touched the likes of the Formula V10s, which are amazing. The Formula V12s as well. I mean, if you look through here, pretty much any car that you could pick up and drive here in AMS2 at Silverstone would be a whole heap of fun to drive, especially the Fusca. We didn't get to try that, but I'm sure that'll be fun too. But you could pick any one of those, maybe even the karts, who knows, but have a good racing around Silverstone. So it's just one of those circuits where you can just easily get into and just drive, and it's good fun to have. So GSM Dad says Silverstone is so good at AMS2, so many variants and great fun with the older cars. Yeah, absolutely. Fully agree with that. What a corner bridge is, says Gaz. Yeah, it is. It's just a real commitment corner, and I love it. But there we go. So that's our celebration of Silverstone. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please do consider hitting the like button so that YouTube knows that you like it. And if you are new here, welcome. It's been great to have you with us. I hope you enjoyed watching our stream this evening. By the way, if you haven't yet seen we have a new video out this week where we list our top 5 best sounding cars in Race Room. So if you haven't seen that yet, go check it out. It is on the channel now. Race Room is full of amazing sounds, and it was so difficult to choose 5, but we have chosen 5 and they are on there, so go check it out. But once again, thank you so much for your company this evening. It's been great to share some time with you guys and just to relax and enjoy some sim racing action. So a big thank you to you guys. Save the Fuscas for community yeah, they are. The Fuscas are brilliant in community races, and you guys seem to love them too, so definitely do some of that. So yeah, thank you very much everybody for joining us. I hope you have a great rest of your week. We will try and throw out some more content for you this week as well, so stay tuned. But until then, take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time. Bye bye for now.